Investigates starts right now.
What is up, my beautiful people? We're a little late, and I got my third eye going.
Oh, not again. Let's go. Hi, guys. I'm trying to get chat on Mab's phone, and because I can't see, got to have him do it. Hi, Cassie. Hi, Cindy Lou. Hey, Mama Rolex. Cal. Who else do we have here? Hold on.
There you go.
Hey, Mama Rolex. Cal. Done 832. Like that name.
Rammer Jammer, what's up? Oh, Lord. Mab has been working too much. That damn thing shining on my head. I've had enough of this shit.
Yeah, Mab finished the arbor. I'm going to show you.
That doesn't work either, does it?
Hold on. I want to show you a picture on my phone because it is freaking amazing. Look at this thing.
I can show it to you on a real picture.
Look at that arbor. It's 32 feet long, guys. He built it. He cut the wood. He stained the wood. He planed the wood. He sanded the wood. He put the little curly cues at the end. I mean, it's freaking gorgeous. Yep. Yepper. Let's see what else. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm trying to see if I can find another picture. Can't really see it, but like the edges of the wood are like all fancy. He like cut shape in there, and then he has like a little dowel. See the little ridges in there?
Yeah, that's a router there.
Cut all those out himself on all that wood. It's freaking wild. Did not know he could do that.
Look at that dirty son of a bitch.
Dirty old Mac clothes.
Oh, Lord. Anyway.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Pretty often. Oh, there's thank you, Cassie.
What's this? Oh, what's that? Anyway.
So.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome to come home and see that in the front yard.
Now I got a dog in here.
Come on, your doggy.
Mab has to be half Mexican. Yeah.
Huh? All right, hang on. I'm gonna close the door, otherwise it's too much.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Why is that damn thing shining on my head?
You know what? I saw it on someone else too. Another YouTuber. Sorry about my here.
If I just go like this, it won't hit me. It's right there that it hits me.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotta get myself comfortable here. Okay, there we go.
Oh Lord.
What?
You know what? I go on other channels, you know, and let me just put this in here. I go on other channels, like I was on 857s and Adam, you know, Patriot Pride, and there's that Mab, there's that fucking sub, whatever they call it.
You're trying to steal subs.
Yeah.
Just so lame because you never say anything.
No, and I don't. The whole freaking channel is to help other people. I'm not taking a penny. I've never taken a penny out of this channel, not 1 cent. All of it goes into the Mab Investigates Foundation account. That's all to help other people. fact, we have our first person that we helped. I'm not going to name them. Just know that one of our mods' husband was diagnosed with cancer, and she needed a little help, so we helped her. And I think that if you make a big thing about it, it just takes away from what you're trying to do for other people. The best gift you can give somebody is the gift you give them in secret. If you have to like make a spectacle out of it, like, look, I gave this money to these poor people, and look how I helped all these people, that just makes it shitty. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make it right. I like to help people in secret. You know what I'm saying? So, Texas is hot.
I remember before we got married, when we used to go to our church, every year there was a women's retreat, and we would go up to Northern California and stay at this like retreat place. I can't remember what it was called, but we had these little cabins that we stayed in, and it was expensive because there were speakers, and the speakers got paid to come talk to us. There was food, there was entertainment, there were gifts and things like that. And so it cost a few $100s to go. And there was a scholarship fund for people that couldn't afford to go but really wanted to go. And one year the pastor made an announcement like, hey, with our scholarship fund, we were able to sponsor 10 women to go to this thing. And I was just like, wow, that's so awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then like years later, Mab told me that he had contributed to that scholarship fund and helped pay for some of those women to go. And nobody knew it was him.
Well, you're not supposed to, the best.
Yeah, I agree. No,
And the Lord says, like, remember the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they'd be praying, and there'd be like tassels and shit all over them, and they're like, look at us, we're so religious, we're so prairie, we do everything. You just gotta give in secret. That's the best way. Yep. That's what I like to do. That's what we like to do at the MABsters Foundation. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Nanette, good to see you. The old gray goat, always late to the dance. Keisha, yeah, we've been overly blessed in our lives, so it's time to start giving back. I mean, we got everything we'd ever want. I got an awesome wife. She's got an even awesomer husband.
Because we're staying so humble.
Yeah. I'm the humblest sumbitch on YouTube, man. Anyway, that's funny. What are we talking about today? I've been 16 kids. 16 kids, man, that were found in that house in a 12 by 12 room. It's crazy. This woman was like pregnant for her whole life from the age of like 13 to 15. Hey, Shauna, what's up? Good to see you. Where's Kel? Kel here. Kel. Give me my phone real quick.
You want your phone?
Yeah, I need to do something for Kel. I can only do it from my phone while the live is on.
Wait, Lucas really wants to come see you. Okay, let's see, Daddy.
All right, here. There you go, Kel.
Come on, dude.
My face is hurting today, man. It's all hurt. Kel's a mod now. Yeah, she's pregnant again. She's pregnant in jail after having 21 kids or something altogether. Dang. That's a lot of kids. I think I got a video about this. Let's see.
I've never seen anything like it. Tuesday in Ohio, 16 kids, 18 months to 18 years old. 16, okay? They were found having lived the last 4 years, not in that little ass crappy house, in a room in the basement that is
We don't know if it's a basement or not, but some say it is. There is a basement.
12 by 12. Neighbors say they had no idea that the kids lived there. 16 kids, not in school. Cops say some of them were barely able to communicate. 7 of them were taken to the hospital.
2 of them were life flighted out, like days from death.
2 of them are in critical condition. The parents, the paternal grandparents.
The old man don't look too good, man. He's got one eye looking one way, one eye looking the other way. I don't know what he's seeing, but damn, he don't look too good.
Are arrested, charged, 16 counts of felony child endangerment. The state attorney general and sheriff said the children looked almost feral.
Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children. It was extremely high presence, I'm sure, of bacterial and human feces. It was just a disgusting scene.
It's not that different than those old commercials you see of like kids in Africa, like just where they're covered in bugs and squatting and had that like distant look in their eyes. It's terrible. I mean, it is absolutely terrible.
So, well, how did it happen? Okay, we don't need these guys to tell us how bad it is. We get that, right? We get it. How does this happen? Is it the neighbors? Is it the government? How? I never heard.
No, it's the mama and daddy. They just never told anybody they had kids. They just kept moving around.
So 2 people in chat have said that they heard the mom is actually pregnant right now.
She is.
That's
Got her 22nd kid on the way or something like that.
I mean,
he's only 33 years old.
how she cannot, that cannot be consensual. I am sorry.
It was.
Not necessarily.
I don't know. She's been spitting out them kids since she was like 13 or 15.
I mean, do they not? I wonder if there's some kind of religious freaks
No,
that
they're
like
not.
don't believe in birth control or something. Like, what is going on?
No religious stuff.
I mean, she could always, in the hospital, if she has kids in the hospital, she could always be like, can you
Had them
please
all
tie
in the
her
hospital.
tubes? She could
Had
get her
them all in
tubes
the
tied.
hospital. She never did that.
Heard anything like this. Let's bring in former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos. I'll give you the easiest comp is J.C. Dugard. But here's the difference. You're dealing with 3-4 kids, and the system did know Coffindaffer. They went multiple times. They just got duped by that dirtbag that had stolen them in the first place. How does someone get away with something of this scale? Or should I not be surprised you heard about it all the time?
You get away with it because you can seal it by moving over and over again. You don't let the children out of the house, and you keep them in that basement.
But who even does something like this, Garagos? Like, we don't know if there was a financial profit. Is this just like, just psychos?
I was going to say, you hate to judge a book by its cover, but I do that for a living. And if you take one look, this does not look like people who are in their right mind. And obviously, if any of this if even 15% of this is true, it's horrifying.
Gary Lee Siders Jr. is a damn rabbit.
Yeah, they both are.
Yeah, they just keep it going and it going and it going.
And then somebody in chat said, Dunn832 said, I listened to an interview with the woman who worked at the Dollar General, and she said the man would kiss the wife multiple times while in the store.
Well, I heard that the dollar store, they bought vegetable oil, eggs, and sugar. That's what they fed them. Because vegetable oil is high in calories, right?
Yeah.
They'll probably make them whip them up some sugar and egg oil and let them drink that, maybe out of bottles or something. I don't know.
So
Sikorsky, what's up?
freaking disgusting.
Yeah, crazy.
But also, like, what does it speak to? Don't we have to do a better job of like looking after each other, Mark, when a society can allow this kind of depravity?
The society didn't allow it. They hid it from everybody.
Hid it. Yeah. It's not society.
The only reason they got caught is because I think old Gary Lee Jr. was taking a leak out in his front yard, and a couple of the mother and daughter were walking by, and he got some
indecent exposure
charges, and that's what they were there for in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I think probably the thing that strikes me the most is the span of the ages. I mean, to 18 months to 18 years is just stunning of that. And how do you maintain this? I just don't. When they're talking about it being a feral quality, that I think that's actually a pretty good use of the word.
I mean, just completely.
Chris, I've got to say here.
It's not.
I don't know about feral, but it sounds like they were just sitting in that room all the time with no school, nobody to talk to. It's kind of blank stare off into the distance. They probably ate whatever they were given and just went to the bathroom wherever they could, and just, damn, it must have been a mess in there.
It's not civilized, is I guess the best way I'd put it. So
that's for
it's
sure.
hard to look at it. Yeah, it's hard to look at it through a prism of any way to rationally digest this or discuss this.
Yeah, I got it.
Absent some other explanation.
I agree.
Chris,
And Jen, you got part of that with the mom.
Yeah, I truly believe it's not just about the mother. I think there are going to be other charges with incest. If you look at the number of years in between this, I believe these older children, the females that were able to be of childbearing years, I think they're going to have to do full DNA.
Now,
oh, no. Don't say that.
I don't think that's appropriate to say.
Yeah, that's some karma right there, dude.
You know what I'm saying? That I don't think that's.
I don't think that they should.
Right there. What's this?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about incest, but we don't know. We don't know. But I wondered if the grandpa had any contribution to this, but probably not. If he was in a wheelchair and maybe a little dementia, probably not. It's probably all the.
This is what they look like.
The son. She looks completely out of it.
Yeah.
She's beaten down. Poor thing.
Imagine her nipples after.
Oh God, honey.
21 kids.
He probably did not breastfeed. He probably didn't let her breastfeed.
How do you know?
Because a lot of men are like that.
I would have let her breastfeed.
I mean, I don't know, but that's just sort of a gut feeling about this guy.
Let me see.
Right, I know. Cindy Lou, how do they pay for stuff? How do they raise 18 kids and pay rent? And he's a DoorDash driver? Like, their rent must have been like $300.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
the
as
door
it unfolds, we'll learn more.
Ohio home. Stuff of nightmares allegedly hidden behind the doors of this simple Ohio home.
This is pure evil. What we saw down here today is pure evil.
16 children ranging from 18 months to 18 years old were pulled out of what authorities are calling a house of horrors.
3 sets of twins, I think there was, or 4.
I can't believe she had conjoined twins. I mean, that is so rare.
They died on birth. Yeah.
Conditions inside described as deplorable.
Our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
4 adults arrested.
I mean, the old man don't look good.
No, the grandmother doesn't look good either.
I mean, you got one eye going north and one eye going south.
They all have a really vacant look.
Except this dude's kind of the chunkiest one of them all.
Yeah.
I think he was doing just fine.
Arrested, now charged.
All of those counts are.
Whoops. What happened?
The stuff of nightmares allegedly.
Livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
Charged.
All of those counts are felonies of the second degree.
73-year-old Gary Siders and his 36-year-old son appeared together on camera for their arraignment today.
I'll be right with you.
Then 67-year-old Christina Siders and 33-year-old Elizabeth Siders appeared.
33 years old. Damn.
Appeared by video, sitting side by side.
Grandma, grandpa, father, and mother at this point. That's what we know.
All 4 adults charged with 16 counts of endangering children.
What? You say something?
No, that wasn't me.
And being held on $300,000 bond each. They all pled not guilty.
The Siders are facing anywhere from 16 to 128 years in prison.
The house is located in the small village of Hamden, part of Ohio's rural southeastern Appalachian region.
There isn't much evidence that kids live there. I didn't actually go into the room where the kids were. I just looked through the door. That was yesterday. I can still smell. I can't get the smell.
The children were kept in a roughly 12 by 12 area. It seems like is where they've spent the most of the last 4 years.
The big question for me as a defense attorney, who's going to talk first? Someone's going to point the finger at someone.
It's horrific. That's just nasty. It's horrific, really is.
Neighbors are surprised and shaken that this situation could have been happening with no one noticing.
And I prayed a whole lot that that all them kids get better.
Several of the children are in serious condition. 2 of the children had to be care flighted to level 1 trauma centers.
The 16 children were initially checked out. Some were taken to hospitals across the state, where they will likely remain for a while.
I think if they would have waited another 24 hours, there was a very high probability that we'd be dealing with a death or multiple deaths of these children.
So that means they were just hours from death.
Yeah.
16 found, Rachel.
So, and a few have already died. So then the question is, did they?
2 have already died from conjoined twins.
Well, 2, but I think there's more than just the 2, right?
Twins? They had 2 more sets of twins.
Right. But
I think I've got a picture of all their ages and everything.
But were only 2 confirmed deceased, or did more die?
Only 2. The 2 that were deceased were born. They passed when they were born.
Right. But those are the only 2. Those are the only deaths of all the kids.
Yes.
Okay. I thought there were more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I had a picture of them.
And Shauna says the mother swears she's not a victim.
Really?
Yeah.
She's not a victim.
She's not a victim. So she's just now owning up to being a monster, essentially.
Wow. Anyway, that was that.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay, so you guys are gonna love her. I found her obituary, and she's just the cutest. And I thought, she cannot fit in with these people. This woman is absolutely amazing. Oh, sorry, she was 91. And she died April of 2025. Bless her heart. But she was a really cool lady. Like, she had her bachelor's. She was a teacher. She was a substitute teacher, and then she was a real estate broker. She was a clerk for the village of Hamden. She was a substitute postmaster and a member of Saints Peter and Paul Catholic Church. And she just looks sweet as can be. I know, she's so cute. So anyways, that was how I found her, was because the home, I was like, who owns this house?
Oh, sure.
Well, it turns out that it was her.
Oh, and she passed away.
And now it's in a trust. So I was like, okay, I'm so glad that we don't have another element of an elderly person living in this house. Oh my goodness. Okay. So with that out of the way, on the bottom left, let's get back to our picture. And I have so missed covering cases, man. On the bottom left is Gary Siders Jr. He's the father. I'm not sure if he's the father of all 16 children.
Yes.
We're not sure about that yet, but he is charged with 16 counts. Actually, all of them are charged with 16 counts of child endangerment. But what's interesting about Junior is that he's the one that had a separate indecent exposure allegation that were being investigated around the same time they found the kids.
Wow.
And then on the bottom right, we have Elizabeth Siders. So this is his mom and dad. Junior, that's mom and dad, I believe, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Okay. I think her maiden name is Russell, and her mother is still in the area, from what I know. Oh, pepper sprayed? Maybe.
I think they lived like as children, like a couple doors down from each other. He was 18, she was 13. He was 16.
She was 13, something like that.
He was 17, she was 13. Well, when they got married, she was 15 and he was 18. But they met like a few years before that.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? And then they started fooling around and eventually got.
Hey, Heather.
Yeah.
Tobin says, I feel like their eyes are.
That was when they completed school, and the address is listed in the marriage record. You know, they grew up 2 houses away from each other. So, you know, we're kind of getting a little bit more background into how this all started. And I mean, we knew they were Gallia County, Gallipolis area. So, yeah. So we don't.
How do we know he was peeing off the porch? Who said that?
We know the family has multiple ties to different counties. We know that, you know, the Gallia County area, then kind of hopscotched around. We know there's ties to West Virginia, Wisconsin, but also back here in the state of, you know, Jackson County, Pike County.
Oh my God, Wisconsin. I wonder if they know the freaking Harris candy.
Privately, you know, by a trust that doesn't appear to be in the state. When we looked at land records of it, that trust is based out of like Nevada,
Right.
or I believe somewhere way out west. You know, and as we've talked to folks down in Hamden and MacArthur, people are like, we didn't know people even lived there.
No, the neighbors are absolutely shocked. I mean, Libby has interviewed the neighbors. Carla's been down there. I mean, all of their sound is very similar in the sense of like the disbelief that there were 16 children living in this house. Because if you've seen the house, it looks like it was not suitable for anyone to be living in.
Wow. So the neighbors had no idea there were children living there?
The outside of the house don't look too bad.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Mm-hmm.
There, let alone a house full of 16 children. So it's just shocking. And I mean, I think the big questions that we still are wanting to know is, are there records of the children? Where were they born?
They were all born in hospitals.
Were they born in a hospital? Like, where were these kids born, and how have they gone off the radar for this long? So we're gonna keep following this story. We will definitely have more on this coming up later this week as well on 10 TV and on our 10 TV app.
Okay. So I can see someone going, how does someone get married at 15? And isn't that
Okay,
right?
so this is this is a little clip that I saved about the West Virginia thing, and I think it's fitting the kids. So maybe we can get, you know, a breadcrumb or two out of this.
One of the first responders.
Again,
okay, hang on. Hi, Karen. Somebody said they should be looking, Rochelle says they should be looking for mass graves. And I agree with that. I feel like more than 2 have died. I don't know.
Well, they moved around so much, it's hard to tell, right?
That's true. They need to go back to their previous residence and check that place.
If we look at the ages of the children, she was pretty much pregnant the whole time.
Well, some of them were like 2 years apart because the judge read the initials and the date of birth of each kid. And remember, quite a few were 2 years apart.
Yeah.
So,
but that's when she had twins, so that made up for the...
Right. How many sets of twins were there?
3.
Oh my God, that poor woman.
1 set died.
1 set that died, so then 2 other sets of twins.
Yes.
This is WSYX ABC 6, Columbus. And this is one of the first responders. Bless his heart. Yeah, it sticks with you.
Sticks on your clothes and you can smell it for hours afterwards.
Oh, God.
Can you turn the, yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Oh, my God. We didn't need this description. These poor children. You know what? If any poor children.
Find a different book
that we dealt with.
Like elementary school age?
Yeah, listen to that bitch. There's lots of stuff to choose from.
Hey everyone, I'm Ann Emerson, and this is Criminally Obsessed. It's being called the House of Horrors. And after 16 neglected and malnourished children were rescued from their beyond filthy home in rural Ohio, the Vinton County Sheriff described what it was like as they discovered the children. It was something I've never heard a sheriff say before, or any first responder.
The looks on the kids' faces as they seen the light was unique, but also the scene, the filth, the condition of it was very unique, and I honestly do just mathematically think I'll probably never see that again.
And outrage is...
Damn it, how did I do that?
Do you keep doing that?
Oh, well, yeah, I did that.
Hey everyone, I'm Ann Emerson. House and why? He says Gary Siders Sr. wanted it this way.
It's his house. It's his family. It's his children. It's his grandchildren. It's all of these people that he feels authority over, that he can treat as objects.
The 4 people who were...
Talking about the grandfather?
Yeah.
I'm not sure the grandfather at this point even knows what the hell's going on. Hey, pretty little clues.
Arrested are 33-year-old Elizabeth Siders, her husband Gary Siders, his parents Gary Sr. and Christina Siders. They were all charged with child endangerment. The sheriff says livestock are kept in better condition.
The room was small, and for 16 bodies to occupy that small of a space, and it didn't look like they left the room.
16 children kept in a room about 12 by 12 feet, smaller than a 1-car garage.
How many square feet is that per kid?
Like,
12 by 12 is 144 square feet. And 16 kids. It's not many. It's not much.
That's a lot of people forced to live in a...
Huh?
There's a picture there of what it would look like for all those kids to be in that room. Like they're just all crammed in next to each other.
Right. This window is full of crap. What the hell?
Very small room in a home full of abuse.
Look how tiny the house is to begin with. It looks like there's a loft, but there is a basement. I think that's where they were kept.
And bugs. Dr. Delatorre says the grandparents were the catalysts. But why? Dr. Delatorre is certified to treat trauma and also specializes in assessing sexual abusers. He was able to look at the Siders family and answer why. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We will be updating this story. Now let's get into it. This story is rocking us. It's rocking our communities. It's so hard to understand how we could end up with 16 kids in this kind of shape. What was going on in that house, John?
I mean, unspeakable awfulness, unspeakable tragedy, unspeakable abuses, and I think one of the ways that the ways in which this thing gets covered up requires planning, right? It requires a sophistication in being able to avoid what would be positive resources, but also law enforcement. And I think when we think of who has those capabilities, it's usually someone who's been doing it for a long period of time. It's not someone who is, relatively young. So we're looking at the grandparents, essentially, right? The elder Siders and his wife as essentially being the catalyst for how these abuses could, number one, begin, but also kind of maintain, even though there were plenty of opportunities for law enforcement or the state or whoever to kind of stop it from happening.
So you're saying that
Well, wait, you gotta remember that her parents signed off on her getting married at 15 years old.
Yep.
So
you think that the grandparents are sort of, for lack of a better term, like the masterminds behind this. When we're talking about them, we're talking about Gary Sr. and Christina, two of the people that have been arrested. You believe that these grandparents have been overseeing all of this abuse?
This was probably the most extensive abuses that they've ever probably been involved in, but abuse isn't something that is unusual for them. It's not unique for them. And so I think there's probably a long history of abusing within that dynamic, especially between the two of them, whether it's to children or to other family members or to each other, that it becomes a sort of way of life.
I want to hear from the parents. I want to hear their side of the stories. The Turpins. Who are the Turpins? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that either, Keisha, but we can go back and look for it.
For these two individuals, in order to maintain this kind of abuse structure, remember, you have to get two new adults kind of involved, right? They're the kids and Elizabeth. But then you then have to get the other kids, right? The kids that are coming up. That requires a level of manipulation and grooming that you have to practice. No one's just good at that just on the snap, right? You have to have done this for a long period of time to know what works and what doesn't work. And again, the only two people that would have that capability, that would have that skill set, would be the two elder Siders.
So this is a planned behavior. Like, this is something that they've learned how to do. This is something that they know how to do.
So
why weren't they getting assistance for all these kids? They'd be rich. Imagine if they had food stamps for all these kids. They'd be going to Costco with a freaking dump truck full of shit.
What I think is that the elder Siders decided that they wanted to have a life, mostly him deciding that he wanted to have a life in which he did whatever he wanted to whomever he wanted, whenever he wanted to do it. He then had to abuse his wife into compliance, and then he abused his son and then his son's wife into compliance, and was abusing the children into compliance as well. This is a long history of abusing behaviors that is not uncommon for, abusers of any kind, whether it's domestic, intimate partner, or sexual abusers or anything.
Why would they do this? This is Gary Sr. and Christina. They're Gary Jr.'s parents, just to be clear. Why would they do this?
Because they wanted to. Well, let's be clear about something. Christine probably did not originally want to. I don't think she entered into a relationship wanting to do this. Gary Sr., right? So the elder Siders had something in him in which he felt authority, agency. He felt compelled to engage in abusive type behaviors. Where does it come from? Who knows? When it comes to individuals, it can come from any number of places. Their own abuse from their childhood to just simply wanting to, right? That they just, right? That the level of psychopathy that could be associated with someone just wanting to hurt other people.
I want the DNA on all these kids, and I want it to come out that it was Gary and his wife, little Gary Jr. and his wife's kids. If this old dude is any of the kids' fathers, then we're in a whole different ball game.
Right. Or if there's incest too. I bet they're going to do that. I'm sure they're going to test all the kids.
Well, I heard that they were like fourth or fifth cousins.
Oh,
The husband and wife.
lovely.
Especially individuals that are very close to him, from the wife to the child to the child's spouse to now all the grandchildren, right? He did it because he wanted to. Now, the victim of his abusing then begins to act out on their own because they are not being protected, because they are not being rescued, because they are not being saved, because all of these abusing has continued. So now they're acting out on their own. It morphs into something that they now feel compelled to do. It's not that they wanted to do it. It's that the abusing that they had suffered was so extreme and traumatic that they don't know a life without abusing in it.
What do you see that points to them being the driving force behind what's happening in that house?
Well, that's what I want to know. I mean, it doesn't seem like I'm not sure that the old guy has perpetrated all of this on everybody else.
We just don't even know yet.
What are you doing, kitty?
Yep.
Do I still got the third eye? Yep.
Kitty, my baby.
Damn kitty.
This is baby Joe.
He gets treated better than I do.
This is
Oh my. All right.
Oh, baby Joe.
I mean, Elizabeth certainly didn't want to have 16 children over the course of however long that marriage was, only not that very long. So I can't imagine that she entered into that relationship wanting to then abuse every single child that she gave birth to. I also don't really see Gary Jr. kind of knowing that he's going to engage in this behavior and going to do it under the, under the view of his parents. Like, he didn't walk into his parents' house saying, "Hey, guess what I'm going to do?" and then them never know that it's going to happen. There's something to be said about men wanting to abuse other people and the level of depravity that is associated with what is happening needed to be controlled by someone who had the belief of power. Mm-hmm. And that would be Gary Sr., right? All of this would be happening.
He's a wicked looking dude. Dang.
Yeah, he is.
Because he wanted it to happen. It's his house. It's his family. It's his children. It's his grandchildren. It's all of these people that he feels authority over, that he can treat as objects. It would be rare for a woman to have that level of disordered thinking. It does happen,
right?
But it would be rare. This doesn't seem as though a woman created this. This seems like a man believing himself to be more powerful than what he actually is.
Right. They rent the house. It's not his house. They moved around all the time. So
he might just be saying that metaphorically. Like, he feels like this is his home. It's his domain. This is his family. He's the patriarch.
And demonstrating that power by abusing everybody around him. That's what this seems more like. And that's how you can kind of keep it a secret. That's how you can kind of make sure that it continues. Because if he can abuse his son enough times to believe that abusing is the only way to live within a relationship, the moment his son enters into a relationship, the elder siders can then start abusing whoever that person, his son, brings in.
So this started when Gary Jr. was like 13, 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Probably younger than that. I want to say if he was abusing his own son, it probably started when he was very young.
Yeah.
So somebody asked, who is this guy that he's saying all this?
Turpin had 13 kids, and they were also severely abused, the Turpins.
No, honey, no, not that. Somebody in chat is asking who the speaker is and how did he come up with this? He is a
forensic psychologist. This guy is a forensic psychologist.
Of course, it's just his opinion too.
Yes.
All of it is just opinion.
Yeah. conjecture, speculation, and opinion.
So I doubt Elizabeth was probably the only person that the elder Siders ever abused.
We're reading right now, they're trying to find out who is the biological parents of all those kids, because we are assuming that it is Elizabeth, but I mean, it could be more incestuous than that. I don't know. But we're learning that. But why so many children?
Because that's all Elizabeth was to them, was just an incubator, right? She was just a baby milk for them. I highly doubt that they were considering, let's make sure that she's on a pill, or let's make sure that we're using condoms. They're all having sex with one another. Let's be clear about something. They're all having sexual contact. Again, it's in the context of abuse, but they're all four of the adults are having sexual contact with each other. And
we do not know that for a fact.
We don't know that.
We do not know that for a fact. This guy's just making this shit up.
Maybe not all, but certainly the elder Siders is having sexual contact with the children, the grandchildren. So
No, we don't know that either.
Oh God. Yeah.
Making all kinds of speculation.
But let's be clear about the kinds of abuse that was happening here. All they're considering is about how they can abuse anybody that's in their sphere. They don't care about the consequences. If they cared about the consequences, then none of this stuff would be happening. They didn't care. They just wanted to get what they wanted, especially the elder Siders, who then abused all of the other adults into then engaging in these behaviors as well. But all Elizabeth was just a baby mill, right? I doubt she spent a single day in her life in that household, in that family, not being pregnant. And they didn't care.
The motivation behind this, is it sex?
To some extent, in that, we have so many babies, so clearly sex is happening, and clearly sex is a very powerful motivator. But the reality is that there was more abusing happening than only sexual abusing, and so the driving factor was initially Gary Sr. wanting to control and objectify his family, his wife and his son. That then extended into other kinds of abusing by other people contained within the family. But this is all about maintaining a level of control. It's about not seeing these people, as seeing them as objects to be used and discarded whenever any of them now, right? Initially, Sider Sr., but any of them now as any of them saw fit.
Can you help us start figuring out what's going on in their heads? Like, as far as the level of disorder, mental illness, how do you start unpacking that?
I mean, honestly, we probably got to start with the kids first, the grandchildren. I think we got to start with them in order to kind of understand how the layers of just problematic psychological thinking, right? Disordered thinking, all the misbeliefs that they had about the world and about relationships and about family and about love. In order to understand kind of what their disorders are, we're probably looking at characterological issues now. It's moved past the issue of this is a mental disease and is now moved into these are personality characteristics now. We're talking about severe misunderstanding about what it means to exist in the world. I think once we get to the middle layer, once we get to, Junior and Elizabeth, we can probably still see some trauma related issues. We could probably still see some mood issues, depression, anxiety. We could probably still see some of those things. But at some point, it's also going to become characterological. It's now a dysfunction in how they are interacting with other people. And that's how then you can get to the point where, are these all her children? Probably. Are these all Junior's children? I highly.
Like, this guy doesn't. He's making a lot of reaches here.
Doubt that. The question is, how can a mother do this? Well, it's because of all of the abusing that she is experiencing. It's preventing her from seeing the world in an appropriate way.
We understand that Elizabeth married Gary Jr. when she was 15 years old, that Gary Jr. was 18. They had to get it signed off on by all sets of parents, like both sets of parents had to sign off on this unholy alliance. And, they had their first child just a couple of months later. What does this tell you about how far back this is going?
It's going pretty far back. I mean, I can easily see why the elder Siders would want to sign off on this. I mean, this is a new girl. Let's be clear. She was a girl when she entered into this family. Of course, they would want, pardon the expression, but of course they would want fresh meat entering into this family.
Oh, man.
Okay, so the other thing, though, is her parents signed off on this. So what why on earth? The only thing I can think of is that she was pregnant, and maybe they were just like kind of banished her. Like some families, when you're teenage pregnancy, your parents kick you out. Like, go marry the guy. We're done with you. We wash our hands of you. You know.
I don't know, man.
I know.
I don't know.
And then there was also that photo that was posted with Elizabeth with her parents, you know, with all their arms around each other. So she has a relationship with her parents, and it looked
Well,
good.
there was also a picture of her sister with the grandparents too.
Really?
Yeah.
So I feel like other family members had to know that all these kids, like, how did other people not know about this? Other family.
The forensic. Yeah, this guy is doing a lot of speculating here. He has no idea what the facts are. He's just speculating.
The Elizabeth's family is harder to know. There are different reasons as to why they would sign off.
Nope.
On this, I mean, they could easily have said, well, she's pregnant, you know, we're not going to deal with it.
Some of our listeners feel like Elizabeth is a victim too. Like that is something that we've heard in our comments from just the story we did last night. And the response, I have to say, from our viewers was overwhelming. And it may be coming from where we heard her attorney speak earlier. We also have heard from her attorney who's like, when I met Elizabeth, I did not see an evil person. I saw someone who had not stopped crying and wanted to know where her kids were. But he didn't see that evil. Now, look, that's his job. He's defending her, right?
Sure.
But what do you see? What do you see when you see Elizabeth?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to imbue people with special powers, right? People aren't evil or demons or, devils or anything. People are people. And I think that Elizabeth participated in abusing. And based on whatever, legal statutes exist in that jurisdiction, she needs to be held responsible for the behaviors that she engaged in.
Yeah.
But
I think she started out as a victim, but at some point she became complicit.
Yeah.
I don't know what that age was, 21, 22, 23. I don't know. Hello, Crazy Jane. Good to see you. From Jay's Guilty of Crime. Guilty of Crime covered this yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, she did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better than I'm doing.
be clear that there's different kinds of victims. Being a victim in the law is not the same thing as being a victim in reality, of being a psychological victim. She did not enter into this relationship with Gary Jr. or the relationships with his parents wanting to abuse 16 kids, her own 16. She did not want to do that. It happened because Gary Sr. decided that he was going to abuse his family members. Mm-hmm. She entered into this relationship and began being abused herself. She needs to be held responsible, but she's not the mastermind behind any of this. And the people who are responsible, right? The two elder Siders mm-hmm. and the husband need to be held responsible because she was 15 when she entered into this relationship. She didn't have a choice to be made. People made choices. Adults made choices for her, including the two men who abused her to the point that all of this stuff happened.
It does beg the question, and I'm absolutely 100% sure people are going to be asking this as well. Why didn't they leave?
Yeah, to where? With what money? With what resources were they gonna go? Where? How far? She's 15 years old. I mean, what job is she going to get? He's 18, right? We're not talking about two people who have an unfettered access to the world around them.
He was doing DoorDash. I think this is the only money they were getting, maybe some Social Security for the two elderly people.
Well,
other than that,
this is Appalachia.
Yeah.
Appalachia. So things are a little different over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon, as someone said in chat, for, we're in California and you do not see this shit here.
Hey, Lisa Marie.
In other parts of America and the world, getting, child brides are normal. It's not frowned upon.
Yeah, I mean, especially in arranged marriage, India, for instance.
Right. I mean,
you can be married
it's
off.
just, this is, you
Some
don't see it
countries, back
very
in
often.
biblical days, if you were old enough to bleed, you were old enough to breed. It's kind of how it went.
Yep.
The only world that Gary Jr. knew is a world of abuse. He was probably convinced by his father to bring in a girlfriend so that they could all start abusing her as well. Mm-hmm. There was never a chance for escape. Could they have, fantasized and talked about it? I guess maybe, but the reality is that Gary Sr. probably would have beat that out of them anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the trick of the abuser, is to make you believe. Could they physically do it? Sure, they could physically do it. But the trick of the abuser is making it so that in your mind, it's not possible.
Do they think it's okay what they did?
I think the problem that I'm having is with the word okay. I think they felt justified and they felt morally right in doing what they were doing. I think they believed that they can do what they want to anyone in their family. In terms of, did they know what they were doing was wrong in terms of...
I mean, none of them went to school a day in their lives.
Yeah. I mean, how could you be a mom and be okay with that?
I don't know. So am I, Linda.
Legally wrong? Of course they knew what they were doing was legally wrong. They didn't care, especially Gary Sr. did not care for his whatever history that he has. And I guarantee he has a long history of abuse and various kinds of abuse. But I will put good money down that he's an abuser of some kind. He didn't care.
There is one thing that we keep on thinking about because they've brought it up in several of the interviews we've done. The stench was unbelievable, unbearable. How in the world do people live like that?
You become desensitized to it. Living that long of a period of time in a place.
So somebody on here, sorry, Jody Wu says, how were they discovered? So,
the guy exposed himself, 4 counts of lewd and lascivious behavior, I guess, exposing himself to a couple of people walking down the street is what I understand, maybe pissing out in the yard or something.
So there was a warrant for his arrest, and they came to the house to arrest him, but there was also a search warrant, which is sealed, so we don't know why there's a search warrant, but they came to his house to arrest him, and because they had a search warrant, they were able to come inside, and they found all the kids. So it just was kind of by chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Place like that, it overwhelms all of your senses, right? Especially the most primitive sense that we have is smell, and it's the one that's easily overwhelmed. So if you put enough smell into the space, into an enclosed space, eventually you become what people call nose blind to it.
How do they keep this under wraps for so long? We're hearing that this is, I mean, quite an 18-year-old in there to an 18-month-old.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Screwed up again. Hold on.
I mean, lack of resources. I mean, one of the things about, the notion of freedom is that people are going to do whatever it is that they want to do, and they will avoid detection. Avoiding detection, again, requires someone knowing how to avoid detection. Gary Jr. hadn't lived long enough to really know how to avoid law enforcement or anything like that, or CPS, whatever it is that they have for families. But Gary Sr. had. Once people start asking questions, right, you pick up stakes and you move to the next county, you move to the next town, you move to the next state.
Do you think there's any chance that these children are going to be able to overcome emotionally, psychologically what's occurred here?
I mean, I guess I don't want to put out there that there's no hope for them, but the reality is that it's going to take a pretty highly sophisticated clinical psychology grad program, right? Faculty and students to work with them all day, every day.
I think the younger ones have a better chance than the older ones.
Like the 18-month-old, absolutely will be fine.
Yeah.
3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, they're going to be okay. But the teenagers,
yeah,
no.
Who's a fucking idiot? What are you doing?
What?
No one truly overcomes so they can move on. What do you mean, I guess? Who's saying that? What are you talking about? Zany as a dragon, zany ass dragon, whatever the fuck your name is.
Zanaya's dragon.
Zanaya's dragon. Oh, the forensic guy. I agree. Yeah, he doesn't. He's pissing me off too.
To get them, just to get those grandchildren to a point to function with support, and then they have to want to change. And at some of the older ones, especially, if that's all you know, how can you trust anybody? Trust
this guy isn't even old enough to know what the fuck he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Yeah, they don't look. I mean, she looks tore up. He looks kind of dead-eyed.
Mm-hmm. They both do.
Especially her.
And then her hair is
greasy.
So she's not bathing frequently, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
All right. Back to
Rochelle. No, they didn't make noise. The son was Gary Jr. was caught indecently exposed. He was flashing people essentially. So there was a warrant for his arrest. That's how they were found. It was just by chance that they stumbled upon this. They went there to arrest him for indecent exposure and went to the house and discovered the kids. That's what happened.
Zany as a dragon. Yes, you're right. I've studied psychology quite a bit myself. My mother was a psychologist. Her husband was a psychologist. I mean, I remember freaking white rats and shit. Experiments with white rats. When I was a kid, my mom would give me all these crazy tests and shit when she was taking psychology at school. Of course, she was dating my third grade teacher's ex-husband, which didn't turn out well for my third grade education. My teacher didn't like me too much. Okay, we're switching over to Nancy Guthrie case now. We're switching to the Nancy Guthrie case. We're going to hear from old the Brew Crew.
Federal prosecutors agree to recommend what appears to be 5 years of probation for Derek Colella. After everything surrounding this case, and especially after the issue involving his reported drug use just days before his change of plea hearing, I told you then that my law enforcement instincts were bothering me because I kept coming back to the one thought. Maybe Derek Colella gave federal investigators something. Maybe there was more happening behind the scenes than the public knows.
I think old Derek Colella, old secret mutilator turned CI, confidential informant. We're going to find out in September what's really going on here and who he points the finger at.
Well, today, I want to show you something inside Colella's plea agreement that makes that question even more interesting. And it comes down to just one small section buried deep inside that agreement.
Now, I watched the interview room, complete interview room, but long, really long, very informative. But I'd have to play it on double speed for an hour to get through it. I've got it right here, but maybe I'll go through it after Mrs. Mab hits the sack here pretty quick.
It appears to leave the door open for additional agreements that may never appear in the public record. We may never know what's in that agreement. Now, before we go any further, I want to give credit where credit is due, because Chris McDonough over at the interview room, he obtained a copy of this plea agreement, and he pointed out on his channel this particular language. And I went back and I looked at what Chris was talking about, and I have to tell you, this is exactly the kind of detail that makes me go back to the questions that I raised in my previous video, because maybe, just maybe, we haven't seen the entire deal. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for being here with me. I'm Charles Brewer, and I hope that you're having a great day. And as always, thank you for spending just a little part of it here with me. Now, if you're new to the channel, I spent 21 years in law enforcement, and what we do here is we try to look at major cases from an investigative perspective. We don't accuse people without evidence. We don't try these cases in the court of public opinion, and we just ask questions. And sometimes the smallest language inside a court document, it can raise some of the biggest questions. So if you enjoy this kind of calm case analysis, take just a second and hit that thumbs up button for me. Subscribe if you're new, and share these videos out, because every time that we keep Nancy Guthrie's name in front of people, we increase the possibility that the right person hears something, the right person remembers something, and finally decides to say something. Now, let's talk about this plea agreement, because one of the first things that Chris pointed out involves a phone call. And I want to be careful here, because I don't know what, happened in that 9-second phone call. I don't want to make more out of
it. The agreement says he made a 9-second phone call to a relative of Nancy Guthrie. They don't say it was Annie. They don't say it was Tomasa. They don't say it was Savannah. They don't say who it was.
Of it than we actually know. According to the plea information, approximately 3 minutes after Colella sent text messages, he called a member of Nancy Guthrie's family. Now, we don't know who that member is. It's not in court documents that is publicly available to us. That phone call lasted 9 seconds.
That's a pretty long time. 2001, 2002, 2003. I mean, you can have a full-on conversation in 9 seconds.
9 seconds. Now, we've talked quite a bit about the text messages. We've talked about the Bitcoin reference, and we've talked about Colella apparently asking whether they received the Bitcoin and saying they were waiting on their end for the transaction.
Yeah, crazy, right? Secret mutilator. He admitted finding Tomaso's corner online, but not Savannah's. Well, just so happens that Early Black and Secret Mutilator have been playing in the same venues for years upon years upon years in Tucson, Arizona. So it's very likely that they knew each other. I mean, it's more likely than not that they knew each other personally. And he had already had their numbers.
But this 9-second phone call caught my attention, because it wasn't necessarily because of what was said, because we don't know what was said. It was not publicly reported. And as far as I can tell, the document doesn't publicly identify which family member received the call. But from an investigative standpoint, I want to know something. Why make the call? You just sent the text messages. 3 minutes later, you pick up the phone and call a member of the family. Was he checking to see if the number was active? Was he hoping someone would answer? Maybe he was just trying to hear a voice. Was he trying to get information? Or was there something else going on? Because I don't know. Nobody does outside the investigation. And I want to be very clear about that, because 9 seconds is still part of the timeline. And investigators obviously know more about that call than we do. They know the phone records. They know which family member received the call. They may know whether the call was connected, whether words were exchanged, and what happened immediately after the phone call.
Nonads. Chris calls them nonads. Yeah.
The public doesn't have all of that information. And that brings me to the part of the plea agreement that really got my attention. That's paragraph 22, deep inside the plea agreement. There's language dealing with the complete terms of the agreement. And I'm going to explain this in plain English. The agreement basically says the written plea agreement, along with any written amendments attached to it, contains the terms and the conditions of the plea.
And they're under seal.
But then it addresses the possibility of additional agreements. And according to the language that Chris highlighted, any additional agreements, if such agreements exist, would be recorded in a separate document and may be filed under seal with the court. That means it will be sealed and nobody will know what's in it.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Think about that for a second. That does not say that another agreement definitely exists. And I want to repeat that. It does not prove that Derek Colella has a secret cooperation agreement. It doesn't prove that he gave investigators information about Nancy Guthrie, and it certainly doesn't prove that he knows who abducted her. We have to stay grounded in this. But you know what it does tell us is that the public plea agreement itself acknowledges the possibility that additional agreements may exist, and that those agreements may not appear in the public record, which means they most likely will not. And friends, that's where my ears perk up, because that is almost exactly the question that I raised in my previous video. Are we seeing the entire deal? Let's go back to where this conversation started.
No, we ain't seeing the entire deal. The entire deal is going to be sealed. What are you doing?
I'm cleaning up and doing stuff. You can sign me off.
All right.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna sign out because I got stuff to do.
Say goodbye.
Thank
to
you
my
for coming.
third eye.
And peace. Doing dishes.
See ya. I gotta get rid of this shiny spot on my damn head. My hair needs cut. I'm all tore up. Been working too hard. All right. Let's do this.
Because Derek Colella was originally facing serious federal accusations connected to communications sent to Nancy Guthrie's family. This wasn't some random prank call to a stranger. Nancy Guthrie was missing. Her family was desperate. The country was watching. And according to federal prosecutors, Colella knew an earlier ransom demand had been made. He then sent messages referencing Bitcoin. And he admitted his purpose, including seeing information about the investigation while harassing the family.
Harassing the family? I don't know about that.
Then we get to the plea agreement. 5 years of probation is reportedly the recommendation.
That's nothing. 5 years of probation and some rehab? Come on, man. That was a 20-year deal. He should have been 20 years in jail for that shit. He's given up something. Whatever it is, it's valuable. Because 5 years of probation is nothing. It moves to my nose. Where?
Residential drug treatment enters the picture. And then we learn he reportedly acknowledged using methamphetamine 4 days before his change of plea hearing. That's when I started asking questions, because from where I see it, the public picture didn't seem to match the deal. And I said that in that video. I hope that federal investigators got something out of Derek Colella for a potential 5-year probation sentence. I hope there is information that we don't know, because if this is simply a man who exploited the disappearance of a 84-year-old woman, harassed her desperate family, inserted himself into an active federal investigation, and then tested positive for meth just days before his court appearance.
Tested positive the day of his court appearance. Come on, man. He was tweaking in the damn courtroom.
5 years of probation feels like a very favorable outcome to me. That's my opinion. But I also told you something else. Federal prosecutors usually don't make decisions in a vacuum. There's usually a much bigger picture. And sometimes the public doesn't get to see that bigger picture until much later. Now, we have language inside the plea agreement specifically addressing the possibility of additional agreements that may be filed under seal. Again, that doesn't prove cooperation, but I'm not going to ignore it either. So let's talk about the sealed agreement in general. There are legitimate reasons certain information may be kept out of the public record. I understand this. Sometimes it involves cooperation. Sometimes it involves another investigation. It can involve information that could identify witnesses.
Doing a couple of rips of meth and then going into court. What a way to go out. Tweaking like a bacon.
And it could involve safety concerns. Sometimes prosecutors simply just don't want certain investigative details made public while another case is active. And sometimes there may be no additional agreements at all. That's important. The language may simply be part of the structure of the plea agreement. But here's why I think it's worth discussing in this particular case. Nancy Guthrie's still missing. The kidnapping investigation is still active. The FBI is still working the case, and investigators are still dealing with multiple communications connected to this disappearance. And Derek Colella admitted inserting himself directly into all of that chaos. He contacted the family. He referenced the Bitcoin. He knew about an earlier ransom demand. He attempted to get information about the investigation, and he made that 9-second phone call. That's a head scratcher. So if I'm an investigator, I'm going through every digital device that this man touched, every email.
And in Tommaso's devices, and tablets, and phones.
Every search, every social media account, every message that he sent, every person that he communicated with. I want to know exactly when he first became interested in Nancy Guthrie. I want to know exactly how he found the family's contact information. I want to know what he read. I want to know who he talked to. And especially, I want to know whether he encountered something online or communicated with someone. That could have investigative value. Now, that doesn't mean that he was involved in Nancy's disappearance. Federal authorities have said that he was not connected to the abduction. But here's something that, some people misunderstand about criminal investigations. A person doesn't have to be directly involved in the original crime itself to later come into possession of useful information. I've seen cases where somebody hears something, they may see something, somebody communicates with the wrong person or inserts themselves into a situation, and suddenly investigators discover that person has information that they didn't realize was important. Could that be happening here? I don't know.
If you guys want to hear the shittiest music you ever heard, go to the Secret Mutilator YouTube channel. Listen to some of Derek Colella's music. Sucks.
But I think that it's a
Luke, well, Kayla certainly was in those venues. I don't know about Luke, but good evening, cowgirl. Maybe he is scared. Damn well better be scared.
Fair question. And this brings me right back to September the 10th. That's the sentencing date for Derek Colella.
That is when we might hear something new.
And I told you in my previous video, I'm watching that date. We all should, because sentencing hasn't happened yet. The judge still has a role here.
There he is, little tweaker coming out of court. Poor mom and daddy. I think his mother and father said they something or other. I remember seeing it on 857, or they were outside the courthouse that day.
The pre-sentence process still matters. And whatever Colella does between now and September, that may matter. I used the phrase put up or shut up, and I still feel that way. If there is some additional agreement, if there is some expectation of cooperation, if there's information that Colella is supposed to provide, then I would imagine federal prosecutors are going to know by September whether that information has value. Did it lead anywhere? Could it be verified? Did he tell the truth? Who knows? Did he follow the rules set by the court? Did he successfully complete what he was required to do?
Not yet. Still got to go to rehab.
Those are the questions that I'm asking, because I keep coming back to the same point. Why 5 years probation? Why residential treatment in an undisclosed location? Why this particular deal? Maybe the answer is simple. Maybe prosecutors looked at the charges. Maybe they looked at the sentencing guidelines. They looked at Colella's history. I don't know his history. And maybe they decided that this was appropriate.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If he ain't giving up something valuable, he ain't getting no damn rehab. And 5 years of probation when he could have gone to prison for 20 years. He's got to be coughing up some good information. Or have it on good authority that he's turned confidential informant. Not saying where I heard it.
It was an appropriate resolution for Derek. That is all an absolute possibility. But after spending many years in law enforcement, I've learned not to look at only what a document says. I also pay attention to what the document leaves open. And paragraph 22, at least to me, leaves open an interesting door. Now, I also want to challenge my own theory, because that's what we have to do. If you're going to analyze a...
You guys won't believe how much shit I get in my email. I went through I got hundreds of emails, right? I haven't had time to go through them. I've been building and staining and routing and planing and building and all this shit. Tractoring and all this shit. Every day, all day. I haven't had much time for YouTube, and so today I took the day off. Washed all my clothes and went through most of my emails, a lot of them. And you wouldn't believe the shit I got. I gotta arrange it, but I got some juicy stuff coming up. All right, hold on. Let's do this again.
Case fairly, you can't fall in love with your own theory. The language concerning additional agreement
blows my mind. It wasn't a search party either. Call off the search on the second day. Turn down the Cajun Navy search. Don't allow people to search. What is going on here? Why are they refusing to search for this woman? Now, I hear the family say, we're never going to give up. We're never going to get up searching for you. But I haven't seen one family member do any searching whatsoever. Keisha, remember, for 3 months. Dang. I've been monetized for 3 months now. I wonder how much money I got in my account. I got to figure out how to get it into my foundation. I have no idea how much it is. But I'll find out soon. I haven't taken a dime out of this channel. So it's all going into the MABsters Foundation. So if you know anybody that's a veteran or an elderly person or somebody in need, email me at mabinvestigate@gmail.com. And we'll see if we can't help out.
agreements may be standard legal language. It may appear in other federal plea agreements. I'd have to check. There may be absolutely nothing else under seal related to Kelela. And if that's the case, then my original question remains: why such a favorable recommendation? That's why I think that we need to watch what happens between now and September the 10th. Because right now, we have just pieces. We don't have the entire puzzle. And I think it would be irresponsible for me to just sit here and tell you that a sealed cooperation agreement definitely...
I can go into YouTube and I see that it's the estimated revenue and all that stuff for each month and all that. But I don't know, I got to get in there and tie it to a bank account, tie it to my bank account and get it out of YouTube into my foundation. And then I got to start a website. And then I got to make it so that all of the banking records are publicly available, because everybody who donates is going to be able to see exactly where the money goes. Not necessarily the name of the person who's getting it, but like it went to a veteran for rent or whatever it is. There's going to be what comes in, what goes out, and Matt ain't getting a dime of the money. Because I don't need it. Don't need the subs, don't need the money, don't need the super chats, don't need nothing. Got all I need. I was retired in 2014. So I've been taken care of for a long time. So it's all good. All right.
Exist, because I can't tell you that. Chris,
what's the song? I only meet Peter from the Monkeys. Hey, hey, for the monkeys. Is that the song?
Didn't say the document proves one exists. The language itself says if any such agreement exists. Emphasis on if. Those words matter. But in a case with this many unanswered questions, I'm certainly going to pay attention when the public agreement, the public plea agreement, tells me there could potentially be additional agreements outside the public record, especially after I just spent an entire video asking whether Derek Colella gave federal investigators something in exchange for what appears to be a favorable deal. That's one heck of a coincidence.
It's a sweetheart deal. Hey, Sheila T. What's up, Sikorsky, Rooster, Cowgirl, all of y'all. I appreciate y'all being here. Hit the damn like button. Become a member. Help out somebody. Somebody in need needs you.
Maybe it's nothing, or maybe we're starting to see the edge of something happening behind the scenes, and that's where I'm leaning towards today. And here's the question I have for you: do you believe the 5 years of probation is simply the result of the charges that Colella ultimately pleaded?
Angel of the Morning by Juice Newton. Don't know it. Oh, thanks, Rachel. No problem. It's time for the Mabster to give back. I've been blessed all my life. Well, you know, I've been slam ass broke, living in a trailer with a baby and a crazy old lady. But after my divorce, I met Mrs. Mab, and things have gone up since then. And I invented some stuff, and I sold some patents, and I brokered some patents. So I made about in 10 years what most people make in their whole damn life. So I'm good.
Pleaded guilty to? Or do you believe that federal prosecutors may have received something else from him? Information, maybe he's cooperating. Maybe he has some digital evidence, a name, maybe a communication, something. I want to know what you think, because the more that I look at this agreement, the more that I believe September the 10th may be more important than we originally thought. Not because Derek Colella is the person who abducted Nancy Guthrie. Federal investigators have said that he is not connected to the kidnapping. But because sometimes people standing on the edge of an investigation see more than we realize. And sometimes the deal tells you there may be
the trailer I lived in had wheels on it. All right.
Another conversation happening somewhere outside the public view. So I want to again give credit today to Chris over at the interview room for obtaining this plea agreement and pointing out the language. That's very important here. You know, content creators digging through court records, reading the documents and asking questions, and keeping Nancy Guthrie's case in front of the public. That matters. And I've said this before, more eyes on this case are not the enemy. More attention is not the enemy. As long as we remain responsible, as long as we don't falsely accuse innocent people, and as long as we just stay grounded in the facts, I believe that keeping Nancy's name in front of the public gives us a much better chance of somebody remembering something, somebody recognizing something, or just somebody finally talking. And listen to the person responsible for taking Nancy Guthrie. You may think that 5 months has given you distance. You may think that the confusion surrounding ransom notes or fake communications or the court cases and conflict.
Love to hear how we met. I'll tell you how we met. I was married to somebody else, and she was married to somebody else, and we went to the same church, and we took care of babies and kids during one service, and then we went to the other service. And a friend of mine, I saw her with a friend of mine in a room that was taking care of babies. And once I saw her, I'm like, she's going to be my old lady someday. And I was already, she was married to somebody else, and I was married to somebody else. But I knew in my heart she's going to be mine one day. Sure enough, a couple years later, it happened.
Conflicting reports has buried what you did. It hasn't. People are still watching. Investigators, they're still working. Creators are still digging. And we are still asking questions. Somewhere in all of this, there is an answer. And sooner or later, one small detail is going to connect to another. One person's going to talk, and one piece of digital evidence is going to make sense. And when that happens, the attention comes right back to you. Until then, we're going to keep Nancy's name out there.
That's right.
We're going to keep asking responsible questions, and we're going to keep looking at this case from every reasonable angle, because Nancy Guthrie still matters. Her family still deserves answers. And this case is not going away. Thank you all for spending a little part of your day with me. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video out with somebody who's been following the Nancy Guthrie case. And remember, until Nancy Guthrie is found, until her family receives the answers that they so deserve, and until the person responsible is held accountable and standing before a judge, I'll see you all in the next video.
Good job, Brew Crew. Now, we ain't got time to do the interview room's whole thing. Another thing I wanted to address is that I think I'm a mod on 3 channels now. 3 as of yesterday, but 2 before that. I don't always agree with the YouTubers, what they do. If I'm a mod there, I don't necessarily agree with everything that person does. Okay? So don't misunderstand that I will back up everything another YouTuber does. I don't. Some stuff I don't do. Like, I don't tear down other YouTubers. Not ever going to do that. You're a mod on here, and you're a mod on Adam's channel, right? So I don't have to agree with what everybody does as YouTubers, even if I'm a mod there. But personally, I don't trash other YouTubers. It's just a rule that I have. It's never going to happen. I don't care who it is, who you are. It's not going to happen. I don't care. You know, I've got an opinion about everything. That didn't mean I have to share it on my channel. All right. Because I've gotten texts from people, you know, saying, "What are you doing? You're a mod on this dude's channel. Why don't you this? Why don't you that?" You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. That's crazy. All right, Sheila T. I just thought I had to make that clear. I got to get up early tomorrow, 10:07. I got to get up early. I got to go to Home Depot. I got to buy 4 8-foot 4x4s and some other stuff at Home Depot. Then I got to come home, pick up my crew, start working. I don't have Cash App or Venmo, so I have to wait for pickup. That's fine. Yeah, I don't care how much money I get, but whatever it is going to go towards helping other people. So that's why I'm doing this. Fuck the haters. Let them drink their haterade. I like that, Sikorsky. I like it. All right, y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Mab is out. I will be back soon. I will be back soon. It's 1:07. Damn. 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah, you're on the East Coast. It's only 10 o'clock here. I still got time to get a good night's sleep. All right, Kel. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll see y'all. Peace. Love you guys. I'll see you later.